Good day and welcome to another edition of One-on-One with Swope Health. I am your host, Eric Wesson. Thanks so much for joining us today. We've got a great conversation planned for you. Our guest today is Miss Tenesia Brown. She is the director of By Purpose Productions. No, it's not incorporated, but By Purpose Productions. Tenesia, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about Tenesia. Where are you from? Where'd you go to school?
Oh, Lord. I am from Kansas City. I'm born and raised here. I went to a lot of schools, so that's a long list. We ain't got, how long this podcast? We ain't got no time for all that. But nah, really, I went to a lot of schools. My parents probably moved like every 3 to 6 months when I was a kid growing up. So that's kind of really where my passion for home ownership and stability kind of came from. But we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, I'm a widow, I'm a business owner, and I am a community leader, I would like to think.
Okay. So last high school you went to and graduated from?
So I didn't graduate from high school. I got my GED as soon as I turned 16 from Job Corps right here on South Parkway.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's a good start.
Yeah.
Good conversation knowing that you're from here. So you got an event coming up. Tell us about that.
I do. So we have the 2025 Spring Kansas City Urban Core Home Show and Bus Tour is happening April 26th. So we're really just, a week and a half away? Really close. Mm-hmm. And that is an event that I started back in 2018 in commemoration of the 50th anniversary of the Fair Housing Act. I wanted to do something to actually combat us not having fair housing. So we were celebrating something that I knew that we still didn't exist for most folk. So this is an event that brings all the resources to one location to help people overcome the barriers that are preventing them from becoming homeowners.
So when you look at home ownership in Kansas City, what are some of the hindrances that you see, especially when you deal with people in the Black community? What are some of the pitfalls?
Fear, 1. Lack of knowledge, 2. Lack of credit scores, 3.
When you say lack of knowledge, what do you mean?
Some people don't know where you need to store it, what is required to be able to be pre-approved to become a homeowner. So or where to go to. On what resources are out there. So just the lack of knowledge and how to navigate the pathway to home ownership is what a lot of people don't know and understand. And of course, there's the biggest thing, and it's budgeting. Mm-hmm. Budgeting is a big issue. But I like to think that we created the First Time Homebuyers headquarters so that we can make homeownership easy and convenient for people so they can have everything again in one location.
So when you talk about First Time Homebuyers, is this event that you're having, and when you deal with people on an everyday basis, is it just for First Time Homebuyers?
No, not at all. We deal with all sorts of people. We deal with current homeowners, people who are on their third home. We deal with investors, but we are specifically targeting, well, I wouldn't say targeting, but trying to attract people to become homeowners, especially if you are out here paying rent. Rent is doing nothing but increasing annually. So we want to kind of stabilize people's finances and stabilize people's homes. So we are promoting homeownership for first-time home buyers, but we do work with everybody.
Is it really easy to be a homeowner?
It is.
Really?
I think we make it difficult.
Okay.
I think we listen to people, and people's fears and people's experiences are sometimes pushed on to other folk, and they put fear into people.
Okay, and those fears are like what?
It could be various things. It could be interest rates. It could be the cost of a property. It could be the down payment that's required. It could be the credit score. It's so many things that I've heard from potential homeowners and people who did become homeowners that they were told by other people.
So I got a credit score of 599. I'm looking at a house in Overland Park, 6-bedroom, 3-car garage, swimming pool. Can I afford that?
Your credit score doesn't determine what you can afford. Your paycheck does. Your debt does. So having that credit score, could I get you pre-qualified with that credit score? Yes. Could you buy that home? I don't know. I need to see your entire profile. I need to know what your debt is, what your income is. That determines what you can actually afford.
Okay. So is that some of the fears that people have, is whether they make enough money? Because debt to income ratio is what comes in there to determine what type of loan you can get to buy a house. So is that a fear that people have?
Yes, yes. People fear like they can't afford it. But I'm here to tell you, if you're paying rent somewhere, then the likelihood is you can't afford to become a homeowner. Now, are you going to, or can you afford the home that you desire? I don't know that. We don't know that. But you have to start where you're at.
So is the housing pool or resource pool in Kansas City that great? Like if I wanted to buy a house, because they oftentimes talk about a shortage of houses in Kansas City for people that want to buy houses. Is it really that bad?
I think that there's a shortage of homes all across the United States, not just Kansas City. We need to build more houses. The inventory is low. Builders need to start building again, or people need to start selling their homes. It's not, quote unquote, a pandemic or epidemic. It's houses out there. You just have to. You just have to want it. There's inventory. Could we use more inventory? Of course.
What about renovation of houses, like through land bank?
What about them?
Is that doable? Is it feasible for me to buy a house and renovate it and fix it up versus buying a house that's already done? Which one is more feasible?
I think that's going
let me say not feasible. Which one is more cost effective?
That's a roll of the dice. So if you've ever bought or heard of anybody who's ever bought a home from land bank, you don't know what you're getting, right? You don't know what you're getting into, and you have to have the capacity to be able to do those renovations, whatever they may be. It can be costly if you don't have the monies or the means to be able to complete that project. Then land bank gets back a lot of those properties. So to answer your question, it's six in this hand, six in that hand. It just depends on your capacity. Can you get a loan possibly to renovate a home from land bank? Yes. Is that an option? Yes. Do you have the capacity to actually do it? I don't know. Is it easier for some folk to buy a home that's already ready to go? Most times.
What are the interest rates now? Because you mentioned interest rates. What are the interest rates now on?
I hadn't looked this morning, but I think there's somewhere like 6.3. So it's not bad at all.
And that means what? Tell me what that means in terms of financing. That's 6 cents on every dollar, 60 cents on every dollar. What is
I think that's 6 cents on every $1,000.
6 cents on every $1,000.
Yeah.
So, and then you pay that interest as it builds up.
You pay your interest every month. So,
okay.
If you're doing a 30-year mortgage, you're going to be paying interest for 30 years. But that shouldn't stop people or hold people back, because if you continue to rent, you're building nothing, right? If you're paying a mortgage, even if you're paying an interest rate, then you are gaining equity. Your property is appreciating. If you continue to rent for those same 30 years, you're paying interest to your landlord on your annual rental increases, and you're gaining no equity. So I don't think that people should be afraid of the interest rates at all.
So basically, you're just making somebody else rich when you're paying rent. Is that what you're saying?
That is exactly what I'm saying.
And not building generational wealth for yourself.
Not building any sort of savings for yourself.
Savings either, okay. And so now with the show that you have that's coming up, the tour that you have that's coming up, what are some of the places? And are you all going to get in a bus and drive through the city? And where are you going to drive to?
Oh, yes. So we can't give you the addresses, right? Because if I give you the addresses and you post it, then somebody can go and buy those houses, and then we ain't going to have nothing to tour. But the event starts out, it starts at 11. Registration begins at 10:30. You come, we do a home buying seminar. So we have all the resources lined up, a panelist of people lined up. We're going to do a quick seminar just to kind of get people buzzing, to see where they're at, to let them know the process. Then we'll hop on the bus. We're going to tour about 9 to 10 homes. Hopefully we get through them all. If not, they're open until the end of the day. And then we'll come back to the First Time Homebuyers headquarters, and we'll do a community mixer, which means we'll have the DJ, the food, raffles. You can talk to all the vendors that are present. You can talk to lenders, realtors. You can talk to credit specialists. Whatever you need to, whatever resources that you need, it'll be there.
So it's a one-stop shop.
One-stop shop.
Okay. You're going to have anybody there to explain how mortgages work.
Well, that's the lender's job. That's what the lenders will do, and they'll do that. They'll do that on the panel. And if you want one-on-one, they definitely will be giving out their contact information for one-on-one. And we're also doing on-site pre-approvals. So hopefully, some people show up at the event and see some of the houses on the tour and put in an offer.
So they can say, hey, you know what? This is it. I want this house.
Yeah, I want this house.
And then they just turn to you and say, hey, I want to buy this house.
Yeah, and I'm going to turn to them and walk them to a few lenders. Here's your options. Yeah.
Okay. So have you been able to sell any of these houses before on other tours that you've had?
Oh, yes. This tour, we have a mission to create 1,000 new Black and brown homeowners. And because of this tour, as of last week, 881. So we're not far from our goal. So hopefully this gets out to enough folks so that they can come in and bring in their family members so that they can become homeowners this year and help us reach that mark.
So this is 800 just from the tours, or the tours resulted in 800?
The tours resulted in 800.
Okay.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's crazy because it's not like the people come and they automatically like ready to go. Not all the time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we have to help them. We have to put them on plans of action. So even though if it's not right now, it's not a no. It's just not right now. If you do these steps, you'll be ready by XYZ time.
And that's build your credit score up so you get a better interest rate.
It's not, see, you keep going back to interest rate. A lot of people have different things that they need to correct in order to become homeowners. It's not even necessarily their credit scores, because we have lenders who they don't care what your credit score is, and they'll give you a loan. And it's not like a predatory loan either, and it's 100% finance. So it's not necessarily credit scores. There's a lot of
credit card debt.
There's those. You know what? If I told you, what do you think the number one thing that prevents most people, just being that you're in the community as well and you talk to a lot of people, what would you think the number one thing is?
People not paying their bills on time or not paying their bills at all.
Yeah, but what bill? What bill would you think?
Ooh, I would say either utility bills, car payment, or rent.
Okay. Now that you answered that, do you not know most folk
and cell phone bills?
Yeah, but those are soft. Those are soft, but if not paid, then they go on your credit. Those are something that just reports to your credit. So if you just late 30 days, that's not good. Those are soft. But most people, it's two things. But the number one thing is repos, car repos.
Really?
Yep. That is I see so many car repossessions. And you know why? Because people, I like to tell folk that bad credit is expensive, right? And a lot of people
right.
go to those buy here, pay here car lots.
Yeah.
And those cars aren't so reliable. And they don't understand that they signed a contract. Irregardless of the condition of this vehicle, they signed a contract and they feel like if they give it back or just stop paying, then who cares because it's a bad car. Well, that contract does. So it is repeated over and over. Then they go to the next one and do the same thing because they're going to give them a car because guess what? They're going to get this car back more than likely. But it's repossessions. And then after that, it's student loans. And then after that, it's paying their bills on time. So.
Interesting, especially about the car repossessions.
Yeah.
From We Finance Anyone car dealerships.
Yeah. It's a trick. Don't do it, y'all. It's a trick. I promise y'all, it's a trick. Just come and let us or let any organization assist you improve your credit so that you can go to a traditional bank or you can go to a traditional lender and get a regular loan, but understand that you're signing a contract. You're signing a contract, and this is what you agreed to do. So instead of giving this car back, maybe you should sell it or refinance it or repair it. Right.
Right.
So.
Right.
There's options. There's definitely different options.
What about savings accounts and banking relationships? Does that play a part in people being able to get a mortgage or get a loan?
It used to, but not anymore. Since there's so many electronic banking systems now that mortgage lenders and banks now understand that a lot of people, again, it goes back to convenience. A lot of people like convenience. So they have those electronic payment apps, which now give out a statement. So that's not really the issue anymore.
Okay. But do those relationships result in you being able to mortgage your home?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Really?
They're just like regular banks now. They're just like regular banks. Just like you and I get bank statements or, Miss Tracy, they give bank statements too. If you request them, they don't just automatically send them out. But they have the capability of providing statements.
Okay. And again, your event is going to be taking place?
It's going to be taking place Saturday, April the 26th at the First Time Home Buyers Headquarters, which is located at 5737 Swope Parkway. If you have any questions, you can give us a call at 816-469-5350. This is a free event, a family-friendly event, and you can reserve your tickets on Eventbrite, and that is 2025 homestour.eventbrite.com. I'll repeat that. 2025 homestour.eventbrite.com. We would love to see you guys there. Don't miss that bus.
And make sure people know that it's free.
It's definitely free.
Even though you have to get a ticket, they still you want to know how many lunches to have available and what type of lenders to have and what banks to have. And this is co-sponsored by who?
This is co-sponsored by the City of Kansas City Neighborhood Tourism Development Fund and by Purpose Productions. And we have a lot of donors who have contributed to make sure that this event happens and that it can remain free for the community.
Okay. And this is the third year of it taking place?
No, seventh.
Seventh year?
I said it started in 2018.
I thought I saw something that said it was a third year. No, this is the seventh year.
Yeah, seventh year.
That's why it led to 800. Okay, I got you now.
Seventh year.
All right.
This was supposed to be the one and done. I don't know how I end up doing this continuously. I have no idea.
Because it serves a purpose.
It serves a great purpose, and it makes a big impact on our city, our community, and most definitely the people's lives. That's why I continue to do it. If it did make an impact, I wouldn't be doing it.
And you said people's lives. How has it impacted? Do you remember the first home you sold in this? And how did it impact that family's life or that individual's life?
Okay, so I can't remember the first home, the first pre-approval, but I can remember what occurred to make me say that I have to keep doing this. Mm-hmm. So it was after the very first tour in 2018, and I was at First Fridays down at the 18th and Vine, and 3 young ladies walked up to me and they were like, "Hey, you're the lady that put on that bus tour." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, hey." And they were like, "That was amazing. We bought houses." And I was like, you did? They were like, yeah, you gave out such great information, and the lender there, they got us pre-approved, and we bought houses. When's the next one?
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I'm thinking, next one? I ain't doing no next one. I'm not doing another one. But I was so happy. But I was like, wow, these they probably were about, they had to be mid-20s. They had to be mid-20s. I said, okay, send a survey out immediately. I need to know, like, what happened, where's everybody at? And I was like, all right, got to do this again. So 2 months later, I was like, well, matter of fact, the next week, I was like, all right, doing it again. 2 months later, had another one. And I was like, all right. But I'll never, ever have one. I'll never do a tour again on a Sunday in the fall. I cannot compete with football. Lesson learned. Definitely a lesson learned.
Sundays, the NFL even says Sundays, but we own a day of the week, Sundays.
Oh my goodness. I would never ever compete. When I tell you that the price for the buses were astronomical, I was like, hold on, why is it so high? And they were like, well, we can do you, or we can take a busload of people to the Chiefs Stadium. I was like, this is crazy. But yeah. So it's not a 2-day event anymore. It used to be a 2-day event. Now it's a 1 day, a few hours. You don't need that much time.
Tenesia Brown, thanks so much for joining us and sharing this information with us. Look forward to reading and hearing about how this all turned out.
I love it. Thank you for having me.
All right. That's it. You have been watching One-on-One with Swope Health. I am your host, Eric Wesson. Thanks so much for joining us. And remember, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Until next time, peace.